All right, we have Southern University, Sandy Pugh, along with, Brittany Washington and Brianna Green. We'll start it off with a statement, we'll take questions.
Thought the kids fought hard to get back in the game. We built ourselves quite a hole. Poor execution on the offensive end, not rotating. We did a lot of standing and watching in the first half, and really got us in a bind. Came out in the second half, we were down, I think 13, came back out and gave up a 3-ball. That was huge. Didn't get to stop. But I thought the kids showed a lot of character and toughness and fighting to come back. You know, anytime you are down 16 in the second half and you have the basketball down 2 with a chance to go ahead or potentially tie the game, you know, hey, we had our opportunity. It didn't happen. But really proud of their effort in coming back.
Questions?
Coach, down the stretch, it just seemed like there were moments where the shots weren't going in, a tip ball or whatever. What were you trying to tell the players during that stretch? It just seemed like it was a situation where no matter what you guys are doing, 50-50 balls aren't going your way, ball bouncing off the rim, good looks. What were we telling the players down the stretch?
Well, you know, you in situations like that, you want to get it to your primary scorers. You know, Courtney, Brittany, and Brianna are our primary scorers. Maya just didn't seem to have that bounce tonight. She got to the free throw line a couple of times, but she just didn't seem to have that swag. She got a shot blocked a couple of times. I think she was a little gun shy. You know, Jada hurt her Achilles, and she wasn't 100%. So, you know, it was up to those guys to really step up and hit shots. Courtney hit a couple of big shots, kind of got us, you know, a little swag going, and Brianna took it to the basket, got a couple of N1s, got our energy up. But, you know, I just never, ever thought, you know, we had that bounce in terms of execution and timing. Everything seemed to be really hesitant or one-sided. Yeah, you know, in the first half, I thought we took way too many quick shots. You know, we didn't let the offense develop at all. It was like, just give it to me, let me do something. And we haven't played basketball like that in quite some time, so I was really concerned. And when we went into the hole, you know, I just kept telling them, run your sets, run your offense, you know, stay with it, trust the process, trust the system, and stay with it. And, you know, we settled in, and Brianna, we were able to get a ball at the high post. She was able to attack and get some easies, get to the free throw line. But, you know, when you keep looking, when you look back at it, you know, you're going to be like, you know, have we made our free throws? You know, was that a foul? You know, at the end, you know, those are a lot of question marks. But the bottom line is, you know, we got to do what we got to do, and we never should have been in a 16-point deficit from the beginning. And going forward, you know, when we sit down and watch this tape with the kids, we're going to show them where we faltered. And so, you know, hey, hats off to Alabama State. They played hard. You know, they were the better team tonight.
Sandy, can you just talk about the fact that it seems like y'all played the same game 3 times against this team? It's always in the mid-50s, comes down to 1 or 2 plays.
You know, at their place, we executed. You know, anytime you play Alabama State, you got to run your half-court set. You know, they do a whole lot of reaching and grabbing kind of basketball. You know, very high intensity, high energy, and you really got to stay the course. You know, I thought our post players got a little shook and rattled because they were pushing them off their mark instead of banging. You know, and you know, Maya, we caught it, and she was running from contact. You know, things like that. You got to get out and work. This little team works hard. You know, they're probably the hardest working team in the league in terms on the defensive end. You got to match that intensity, and we're more of a finesse kind of team. So when you come up against a team like that that's very aggressive, you've got to really execute at a higher level in terms of coming off your screen, looking for your jumper. The pick and roll has to be there. It can't be pick and stand. I thought we did a whole lot of pick and standing. We weren't finding our bigs because our bigs weren't there. You know, the jump shots weren't falling. Courtney, we had a couple turnovers that were just critical. I thought the and one down there with 24 was really big. But, you know, when you got a kid that comes off the bench in the first half and she goes 4 or 5 on standing on the perimeter shooting jump shots and you're in man-to-man defense, you know, that's a recipe for disaster. And going into the locker room, I thought it was important that, you know, we contained her. And Brianna said, Coach, I want her, and, so she did a great job on her. But then, the other kids, you gotta stop the other kids. And then you gotta score on our end and create turnovers. But, hey, like I said, the second half, fourth quarter, my hat's off to our kids. They came back, they fought hard, they gave me a great effort. If we had to do it all over again, I think they would have given us a little more execution in the first half.
Any questions for the players? Brianna, there were a couple of possessions at the end, one possession games where you had the ball, and it looked like you got a couple of pretty good looks. It just didn't fall. Can you just describe what happened in those last two possessions?
I mean, like you said, it just didn't fall. I mean, I got to the spot where I normally get, and I normally execute, and I normally put the ball in the hole. It just wasn't going my way at that point in time. I mean, that's it.
Brittany, I know it's hard. Can you talk about the emotions coming so close to the NCAAs, and yet, if I'm not mistaken, you'll probably go to the WNIT, just sort of emotions?
I mean, not good ones, obviously. Wasn't hitting shots at all. Couldn't find my rhythm, couldn't find my stroke, and that's disappointing when I wait till a game like this to decide to miss a lot of shots. But I mean, of course we all feel bad. I wish I could have came through a little bit more for my team, but we're gonna go to the WNIT and we're gonna redeem ourselves.
Coach, if you can, just talk about the one game extension. You get going through the season, you got the regular season, conference play, then conference tournament. You still get that one extra game. Where do you go from here? When you go back, how you talk to the girls and said, we still got one more game, let's go and do what we need to do?
Well, I guess from a standpoint of a team that hasn't been allowed to participate in postseason for the last 3 years, this was a cherry on the top for us to be able to have that opportunity. But, looking at it from last year, I mean, we lost 6 seniors, who played a significant amount of minutes. So when you going into another season with 9 new players, literally 9, I mean, if you'd have asked me if I thought I'd have been sitting in a championship game, I'd have said no. I mean, it's so hard when you're trying to incorporate so many new people into, what you already have, and getting people to adapt to their roles and buy in, and you dealing with 19-year-old women who think it's all about them and the world revolves around them. It's hard. So I never would have thought we were sitting here. So, but as the season progressed, I think it was Kansas State. We went in at Kansas State and really played well. We moved Sky to the point, and I was like, wow, this little team has some potential. And then we got Brittany back for Maryland, and then she had a phenomenal. And I was like, if Brittany can play anything like this during the year, we got a shot at winning this thing. And, to be in a position that we were going into Alcorn, after that Alcorn game, the kids would tell you, I was not happy, because I thought we missed a wonderful opportunity to win it all, the regular season outright. And then when Texas Southern got beat and the kids had another shot at it, they stepped up. So I was like really proud of them for hanging in there. You beat a team of Texas Southern's caliber twice, and then you come back. But we've had problems all year long with these small scrappy teams, Grambling, Alabama State, the little small scrappy ones. That'd be something that we'll have to look at next year in terms of picking it up and being able to execute in spite of. But like I said, I'm really proud of them. Really proud of them.
Do we have any more questions? Thank you.
Thank you, guys.